I've got my commentary buddy with me, Bacon Fry.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, so you want to say anything about yourself, Bacon Fry?
Yeah. If you've seen the game facts for Pokemon Conquest, I'm the one who's leading the line on that. I've got another little in-game update when it comes to Speedrun. Generally, in most communities, a lot of people ask if they got questions with how the game works in any way.
Yeah, couldn't find a better commentary buddy than that. So yeah, I've been speedrunning this game probably since 2014. I've made plenty of role changes to this, and I hope to show that off today. So about everything, I guess.
We don't advance past how this works. There's a lot of random numbers here. We gotta cover any scenario that happens.
Yeah, I've been doing practice streams the last few weeks to prepare for this. You ready, Bacon Fry? Ready to get started?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna start the run in 3, 2, 1, go. So right now we're just going through the tutorial of the game. The purpose of this game is controls a kingdom. There's 17 kingdoms in this game, one for each type. Obviously, there's no fairy type. When you play through, you control the warlord of the normal kingdom. Right now, your kingdom gets invaded, which is basically the tutorial. I think for most aspects of this game, I'll have Bacon try and commentate on what this game's like, how each battle goes, and I'll just pitch in with what I'm doing from scratch. So, how this tutorial works?
Yeah, so this tutorial is entirely scripted. The game tells you where to move, and it won't let you progress if you do anything other than that. The battlefield itself is the battlefield of Aurora, which isn't really relevant for this kingdom because it's your starting kingdom. But in the post-game episodes, it'll come up. Anyways, we're not controlling Jigglypuff right here. The computer automatically input that for us. But now we're being presented with a chance to move, so we kind of have to do what the tutorial says. Yeah, the projected damage is 17, which doesn't necessarily mean that it will do at least 17 damage. That's going to be the average. It could be higher, it could be lower. Yeah, if you want to be precise, you can save a state at the start of when the warrior's saying something right before the Pokemon attacks, and the damage hasn't even been decided by then. It'll happen the moment you press A to skip their dialogue and commence the attack. Do you mean the game audio? Oh, I hear you just fine, but I'm not sure about the mainstream. Oh wait, the room says that the director has muted me. Are you getting that? I'm not sure if the
just keep going.
Yeah, these are still tutorial battles. Oh, I didn't see the comms 1 audio move. Well, no, here we actually have control of our units. I hope the stream can hear me, but yeah. Unlike the first tutorial battle where we only control Eevee, here we get to control both Eevee and Jigglypuff. So the battle's going to be over when we defeat both enemy units, obviously, but here we get our first taste, or we could have gotten our first taste of why you need to respect Bidoof. Because Bidoof's move is Headbutt, which has a 30% chance to flinch, and if you know anything about Pokemon, then 30% is like, that'll happen a lot. So anytime you see something with Headbutt, Astonish, Iron Head, Rock Slide, you gotta get rid of it. Maybe I should open chat and see. I should have chat open. Yeah, this is the Fire Kingdom Ignis. There's actually nothing too complex going on here, just that the lava tiles that you see, fire Pokemon can go on them, and Bidoof can't because he's useless. But there's also going to be a few gimmicks. Sometimes the fire pillars go down so you can walk over them. And randomly, like halfway through this battle, there's going to be rocks falling from the sky. They usually don't hit something, but, you know, sometimes it matters. But it's not very likely that it hits something. And there's also these hot springs that you see. Those are a kind of contingency in case you get burned by Ember. You can walk over them and it'll heal you and restore your status. But we want to go fast, so we don't want to resort to that if we don't have to. And generally, if we need healing, we'll want to have Oichi take care of that. It was a possibility. Yeah, generally we want Eevee to get the KOs because it has the ability to Celebrate. We've already seen it activate once before, but what this does is it's basically Gale Force from the Fire Emblem series. If you take a KO, you can move again. The other reason we want Eevee to take KOs is because we're going to be using Eevee, we're not going to be using Jigglypuff in the long term.
This battle isn't really going that well.
No, we got a low roll on the double slap. This will come up later. In the Water Kingdom. But you see that Chimchar wants to stay on the lava and attack. That's because it actually gets a slight damage bonus from standing on a terrain of its own type.
Oh,
well, would you look at that? It actually happened.
All right, I got to do the safety strat. I got to go heal. I've already used Oichi's Sweet Song Warrior skill.
Oh, you had a potion though.
Oh, yeah. I forget the main player starts with a potion. I forget because I never use it.
Yeah. Well, it would be better to use it right now, actually, because saving it for the Grass Kingdom is a fool's errand. It's just going to get stolen by Bug Bite. So if anything, it might be efficient to just use it here.
I may need to use it here.
Yeah, we're getting a little unlucky. That's Blaze boosted too. Oh shit.
Well, got that potion.
Luckily, Tepic spared us. Now we're burned too. Yeah, it's a little unlucky. When we're farming for world records, we would usually reset if we get unlucky early on. But you know, we're live. We're doing a speedrun live in front of an audience, so we're not going to do that.
All right, Fire Kingdom's done. Way longer than I would hope it would take, but I made the estimate pretty generous. All right, so I'm not sure if people can hear me now, but I'll mention this just in case. So right now, we're about to get the ability to recruit warriors. And right now, we're going to want to recruit a warrior named Rikiyu. He has a Darumaka, but there is... It's good now? Okay. But there's also another person that could show up. This guy has a Charmander, which has Ember. Darumaka has Flame Wheel. Flame Wheel is going to be way better for us, so we're going to skip the months until he shows up. It's about a 50-50 chance. Nope.
It's also worth mentioning that Darumaka just has really Chad stats. Like, for an unevolved Pokemon, this is unfair.
My own personal record for most amount of months without Darumaka showing up, I believe, is 7 months, and now we're at 4. There he is. Okay, so you want to explain how recruiting warriors works?
Yeah, so there's a few conditions that you want to achieve. Well, you have to achieve one of them in order to recruit. So one condition is to defeat them with a super effective move. We're mono normal, so we can't do that. The other is to recruit within the first 4 turns, which basically means that if you started with a turn count of 10, then you have until the turn count says 7. When it says 6, it's too late. And the final condition is you beat them without them being able to damage anybody.
There is also
there is a little asterisk to that, because we found out earlier in an earlier practice run that if someone executes Dig and the target dies before Dig actually gets executed, then it still counts as them doing damage, which is really obscure edge case. It took more than 14 years for us to find that out, but yeah, that happened.
So yeah, right now we're about to go face Greenleaf, which is the grass type kingdom. in real speedrun attempts, this is usually the biggest reset point because one factor can determine whether you lose 3 minutes on this split. So we'll explain more once the fight starts, but if things go wrong, I will actually run away and re-enter the castle. It's actually faster than just trying to play the fight out. I'll explain how the fight works once we get in.
Yeah, this is a problem that usually only speedrunners have to deal with because a casual player would run both Charmander and Darumaka here and not have that much trouble.
You also wouldn't care how many turns a fight takes, it's just as long as you win.
Yeah.
Okay, so this kingdom is actually different from Ignis. Instead of defeating everybody, we have to capture 3 of these banners. It's like capture the flag. If I stand on it, it turns blue. If the opponent does, it turns red. But there's another thing we got to do here. I need to recruit the warrior with the Pansage, because Pansage has the move Vine Whip. It's going to be very helpful for the next few kingdoms. But in order for me to guarantee be able to recruit it on time, I have to knock it out with Darumaka, which will do super effective damage. However, though, on this battlefield, there's a bunch of little piles of grass. You can see some yellow ones right next to that Suwaddle just now. They kind of serve as little trapdoor shortcuts to different parts of the map. If the Pansage goes down that grass, it'll end up on the complete opposite side of the map from Darumaka. And if I were to chase after it, it would take about 3 extra minutes. We're obviously going to hope that it's the Snivy that goes down, but if the Pansage goes down, I'm going to have to run away and start the kingdom over. But let's hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah. One other thing about the banners is that we said that it was... Oh dear God.
Yeah, because... Alright. Theoretically, I could...
We said that...
Yeah, I'm just going to run.
Yeah. But one thing about the banner condition, like, if you get all the banners, you don't have to beat all the enemies. The battle ends right there.
Unfortunately, when you lose a battle like that, the opponent's energy levels can go up and your energy can go down. Do you want to explain how energy works?
Yeah. Energy is basically a stat multiplier that goes between 0.9 to 1.1, and it varies randomly per month. Every few months it can go up or down a peg. And towards like the latter part of the game, it maybe doesn't matter that much because how do I put it? You'll be using better Pokemon. Let's put it that way. But right here, it can make a pretty big difference.
All right. So the thing is, most of the battles in the main part of the story, the first turn or so is scripted, so you can kind of predict it. Like, for example, in the first battle, you may have noticed a little vine bridge popped out and the Suwaddles went on the bridge. If you run away and re-enter because you lost, that doesn't happen. This fight kind of plays like it's supposed to. So things are a bit different here, but as long as Darumaka knocks out Pansage, we're good.
Yeah, if we didn't need Pansage, then we could just rush the banners and be done with it.
Yeah, it would be way easier.
Yeah. But in any kingdom where you need to capture the banners and there's also a unit that you want to recruit, things can get a little messy. And that's going to come up around halfway through the game. One more time.
I'm just going to try and make this work. We'll see how well that works out. Yeah, this is not the most friendly game for a marathon. It's kind of the reason I made the estimated time a bit generous, because in some of my practice runs, even in some runs where I've had to start a fight over or have some of the worst luck, I was still about 5 minutes under the estimate. So if I go over, then things have to have gone extraordinarily bad. Alright, so right now we're in the perfect position here to hit the Pansage. Is this the part we ask for donations? No, just kidding. Alright, so as soon as Darumaka knocks out the Pansage, I can have Darumaka go through that yellow grass and head towards the leftmost banner.
Yeah, we kind of need Darumaka to carry us here, because I don't think Jigglypuff is getting through this.
Yeah. This is kind of why it's faster just to run away and come back in, but since it happened twice in a row, I'll just play this out.
Yeah, I can't see chat right now, but I will not stand for anyone defending Jigglypuff in the chat. There is nothing good I have to say about this Pokemon at all whatsoever. If you think Jigglypuff is acceptable, you're lying to yourself. We'll be replacing it as soon as humanly possible.
Unless this was the no passwords category, in which case we're kind of stuck with it.
Even in no passwords, I think you would replace it with, I'm not even kidding, Bidoof. Replace it with Bidoof. I'm 100% serious.
I mean, Bidoof's a threat. Like, I hate facing it in these runs because of the flinch chances.
Yeah, but get this. If you put a power wristband on Bidoof, which normally just increases the attack by 50%, it gets a 2.5 times boost. No, sorry, triple. It's triple.
Yeah, we'll be getting power wristbands in just a little bit. Man, we're going to end up defeating everything here just to win. This is why, if Pansage doesn't cooperate, I would just reset the game. Okay, that was annoying. You want to explain what that was?
Yeah, those are random, unfortunately. There's like a few spots, there's a lot of spots actually near the banners where a trap can randomly appear, and if anyone steps on them, then as soon as they try to attack, they'll fall in.
Yeah, thankfully, it only takes about 2 or 3 turns to get out of it, and once you get back out, the trap is just gone.
But yeah, it's annoying. What's especially annoying is that Darumaka needs 2 spaces to attack, so it gets 2 chances to fall into a trap. One before it executes the attack, and then the other on the tile that it ends up on.
But yeah, I hope y'all can see why it would be better to reset your speedrun if this happens, because this is how you would have to play the fight out.
At the very least, if you had brought Charmander, you can just snipe the Swaddle instead of having to do this entire journey.
Yep. Doesn't help that this bridge keeps appearing and disappearing each turn. Some battlefields just have stuff like that.
Yeah, well, you can see here we're going to take max advantage of run-up. I think this is the highest possible damage you can deal with run-up. Because you move 3 spaces, you're hitting with a height advantage, you're hitting from behind, and it's a fire type against the Waddle.
There we go. Finished.
So, yeah, that guy got vaporized.
On the bright side, since we had to run away and come back, the Pansage's energy levels went up, which is going to be great because it'll deal more damage with its moves later. Alright, so we're going to...
That's a silver lining.
Right, so we're going to need to recruit these 2 warriors in particular, because normally, if the fight had gone properly, these are the 2 we would recruit anyway. But before we go to the Water Kingdom, we're going to make a pit stop at the gold mines. We're going to mine up some gold so we can get some money for power wristbands. We're not able to buy them until we beat the Water Kingdom first, because there's a shop there that sells them. And Bacon Fry mentioned it earlier, your moves get a 1.5 damage multiplier when you hold them, but they do come at the cost of It's about a 10 or 15% chance each time you use an attack, the wristband just breaks.
And it's gone forever. Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately with...
Oh, in case you're wondering, the description of the power wristband says it increases attack power slightly. Slightly meaning 50%. So, yeah.
Believe it or not, the original speedrun route from back when Ridlith had the world record didn't use power wristbands. This was a massive route change by a former Conquest speedrunner named The Rat. He hasn't been online in years, but he owns the current record for no passwords, which I hope to do at some point. But I just think doing the run with passwords is more interesting because you get to just give yourself very overpowered Pokemon. We're only going to be...
Well, once.
Once, yeah.
Yeah, because it's a speed run. We can't be wasting that much time using multiple passwords. So you gotta choose which Pokemon you're gonna input a password for carefully.
Yep. So you want to mention how this battlefield works?
This is one of the more straightforward battlefields. There's switches, and if you step on them, it'll open the gate, and the water will flow up until the next gate. And if the other gate is open, then it'll keep flowing past that. So you can just open and close the gates to control the flow of the water. But the water itself is just a barrier to non-water types. And I guess flying types.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing a lot of flying types shortly. Nice. That's a... Ooh, nice. The Pampor's at 1 HP, so what I can do is I can knock it out with Eevee, and then I can activate the Celebrate ability, move a second time, and I'll probably hit Oshawott because I'm not really worried about the Wooper because... Oh, I can't even reach the Oshawott. Okay. I was going to say Pansage could normally one-shot it, so I would have gone for the Oshawott, but it was too far away because Eevee can't swim. And also, the AI likes to try and hit as many Pokemon as possible, so the fact that Eevee and Suwaddle were right next to each other made it more likely to want to hit Eevee and Suwaddle, because, hey, you can hit 2 Pokemon at once. Why not just do it?
Yeah. Incidentally, it's not that the AI never does friendly fire. It can do friendly fire if it thinks it'll do more damage to you than to its partner, but generally it's pretty good at picking decent moves.
Alright, I should be able to win this turn. I don't know if Eevee can kill from here.
Yeah. Well, you'll have a height advantage, so it's possible.
Okay, we should be good.
Yeah.
Alright, Water Kingdom done.
The next kingdom is Electric, and maybe a few people are wondering why we don't want Wooper.
It's weak.
Wooper's attack stat is the equivalent of 25 base special attack, which is like Magikarp tier. This is a joke. This Pokemon does nothing.
So if you're wondering what the story of this game, you basically got to conquer all 17 kingdoms to bring peace to Rance, which is the region this game partakes in. And eventually, if you look at the map, the whole map is shaped like Arceus, which is a neat little Easter egg you'll see near the end of the game.
Well, officially, we're uniting the kingdoms to prevent Nobunaga from doing it. To thwart Nobunaga's ambition.
Alright, 10 power wristbands. We're not going to be able to buy more for probably about another hour or so. So hopefully we get lucky and these things don't break too often.
One neat kind of Easter egg-ish kind of thing is that if you attack something that's not a Pokemon, then the power span won't break. And on the final hit of the battle, if you win after that hit, then the power span also won't break.
Okay, so now we are ready to take on Violite, the Electric type kingdom. There is one special requirement here. I am going to run to recruit the warrior with the Starly. His name is Munashige. He is going to be very helpful, not only because we're going to link with him a very powerful Pokemon, but he also has a warrior skill called Marksman, which for 3 turns effectively gives you a 50-50 crit chance, which is really good. But he is one of those special warlords. You can tell in the overworld because his profile's got a golden background. Only warriors with other golden backgrounds, such as your main character and Oichi with the Jigglypuff, can recruit other golden warlords. So I can't just have, like, Darumaka defeat it. It has to be Eevee or Jigglypuff, and it will be Eevee defeating it.
And you also have to meet the other requirements, of course.
Yeah. Basically, the one thing that would make me run away from this fight right now is if Darumaka crits the Starly one-shotting it, or it dies from burn damage, because having an opponent die from elemental damage like burn or poison will not let you recruit them. If that happens, I'll just need to run away and start over. But I've only had Darumaka crit the Starly twice in my speedrunning career, and one of those was last week, and the other one was 4 years ago.
Jesus.
It would have been really funny if that just happened.
Wouldn't it?
Alright, so right now, I'm going to pile up my Pokemon down here. This is to get the rest of her army to come towards me, which makes them easier to hit, because this battlefield has a lot of little electric pits. Only electric types can walk through them. And Pokemon that have to attack from a distance, like Darumaka, really struggle in this fight.
Yeah, this battlefield is pretty much perfectly designed to counter Darumaka and Charmander. One Super Chad unit that we don't really get to use in this fight, unfortunately, is Carnivine, because Carnivine has a super high attack stat even though it's still using Vine Whip, but has a good attack stat. It can actually move over the electric tiles, but you gotta do an optional battle to get it, so it's not an option for us.
Alright, so right now, Suwaddle's biggest use is using Bug Bite on the Shinx, because the Shinx's warrior is holding a potion, and we do not want her to use it, because that Shinx is kind of tanky at this point in the game. Alright, looks like Pansage's wristband broke. And also, since these Pokemon are in the electric pits, they're lower in elevation, so we will get the extra damage. Because when you're higher up, like Bacon Fry said, you deal slightly more damage. It's an unknown mechanic.
Yeah, it also depends on direction. It's funny that the first one that I explained, the one about the matching terrain, is also the most obscure one, but yeah, most people do notice that attacking from different directions does affect the damage.
Oh yeah, it also can affect the accuracy too. In this game, your accuracy and your evasion are your speed stat. Basically, faster Pokemon have an easier time dodging hits and actually delivering hits. It's pretty cool, actually. Well then.
Yeah.
This is similar to the falling rocks in the Fire Kingdom. That was unlucky. Darumaka's not the most helpful here anyway, but it would have been nice to get extra hits in.
Yeah. One thing is that Pokemon that faint during a battle they get a little less experience towards the end, but, well, we're not going to use Darumaka for the entire game, so it's not so bad.
Yeah, the old route actually used Darumaka for almost the whole game, would evolve into Darmanitan, which is honestly one of the most OP Pokemon in this game, but I actually routed it out, because the main problem with Darumaka is its evolution requirement is pretty insane. Do you want to describe how it evolves and how Pokemon evolve in this game generally, because there are no levels?
Yeah, Pokemon that would normally evolve by level up, now they need a certain stat to surpass uh, a value that I think for Darumaka, what was it? It was like 97 attack or something like that. Anyways, I calculated it and it's roughly a 50% link to get that.
Yeah, so in order for us
Which,
to guarantee that we can have nice double crit. In order for us to guarantee that we can have Darumaka evolve on time, then I have to go out of my way, have Darumaka knock some things out, feed it tons of Ponigiris, which are effectively just used to increase your Pokemon's energy, which in turn increases your stats. But it's just extra RNG, so for the passwords route specifically, I've routed it out.
yeah, I want to say that there's kind of been an anti-renaissance for Darumaka because, well, Darmanitan is obviously the best Pokemon in the game. Like, that's not even best non-legendary Pokemon in the game. It is straight up the best Pokemon in the game. But Darumaka is kind of not it. After the Bug Kingdom, it just doesn't do that much. Like, it's worth it for a casual playthrough, but for here we have better things to do with our time.
Okay, so now we're about to get the ability to link with new Pokemon. Essentially, each Warlord gets one Pokemon by default, but you can link with more Pokemon. The amount depends on the warrior specifically, but right now we're going to type in a special password.
Anyone want to guess? Anyone want to guess what Pokemon's going to show up? Actually, why don't we just wait until the Pokemon actually shows up?
I've practiced so long typing that password from memory.
Yeah, so we made that with a password generator.
Yeah, it's a very cool piece of software somebody made a long time ago. It essentially reverse engineers the game's code with how it handles passwords. And you can make a password for like 85% of the Pokemon in this game. Not every Pokemon has a password, but you can have passwords for tons of Pokemon that never received official passwords, like Staraptor.
I wonder how Munashige Starly feels about this. Was that one Hero?
I am amazed that worked.
Yeah. One kind of interesting thing here is that we actually don't want one that has Intimidate, because Intimidate slightly slows down pace of the game every time it activates. Look through the animation, and Hero, on the other hand, does nothing, which is better.
I have to really lean in on the screen because it makes it easier for me when the screen is like 3 inches from my face. Okay, it's kind of annoying with this battlefield because I need Oichi to recruit that Staraptor. I guess thankfully it flew over here, so that's pretty convenient.
Yeah. One other thing is that this might look to you like not that much damage for a Staraptor. This is because warrior stats like power, charisma, and wisdom actually do affect the damage calculation. And a wild Pokemon is effectively the same as a warrior who has 0 in all stats.
So yeah, we only needed a minimum of 2 Staraptor because Oichi and Munashige will be using them. Your main character is still going to be using Eevee. It's just faster to link with it than to try and kill it. So we'll explain in a second why Staraptor is essentially the best Pokemon to use for the passwords category. Oops, forgot something. There we go. Unfortunately, it's really annoying where the Staraptor decide to spawn. The original password that was used for this was Lapras because at the time with the officially like revealed passwords, the official passwords that Game Freak would release, Lapras was the best one. There was an official Darmanitan password, but Darmanitan, like Bacon Fry said, it just does not hold up in the late game.
Well, it would if you weren't pitted against like dragon types.
All right, so you want to explain this battlefield, Chrysalia?
Yeah, this is Yoshimoto's favorite ball game, Pokemari. Every turn, a ball drops from the sky, and if a Pokemon hits that ball, it'll go flying in the opposite direction.
It's also
where it was hit
annoying.
from. And you can use that for yeah. They also get in your way.
That's the reason I have Eevee hit that first ball. Sorry,
if you
to interrupt.
Yeah, if you can hit a ball onto an enemy, it's a solid amount of damage. Especially if it's being hit by a weak Pokemon, that could be the most damage that it can deal.
I'm sure it's easy to guess how this battle's going to go. Usually the most...
We just got, we just got a few hydrogen bombs to use against these coughing babies.
Yeah, we've got a... We're going to knock out most of these things easily. That's an annoying ball placement. I was about to go there. Alright, so Brave Bird is our move. It hits... They have to go forward by one space, and it hits the front, the left, and the right side. It is an extraordinarily powerful move. However, once you use it, your defense goes down, and for the next turn after you use the move, you can only move one tile. Also, the sides do more damage than the front. I don't know why.
I think it depends on the facing direction, but...
Also, this move will actually fail if the Staraptor ends up like bonking into a wall. Like if it tries to aim towards a wall, the move will fail even if there are Pokemon on the side. It's annoying to use in some battlefields because of that.
Yeah, that is worth it though. We're gonna actually use the ball here. This is the best that Pampor can do.
The main reason we have this warrior with the Pampor is his warrior has a warrior skill called Rally, which raises his own attack and those around him for 3 turns. It's very helpful in this stage specifically, and he's not really helpful anywhere else.
He was basically free because we had Vine Whip, so we may as well.
Oh, you want to explain a fun fact in this game about Fortress Pineco's evolution?
Oh, Fortress. Now here's a hot take. Fortress is only the second worst fully evolved Pokemon in the entire game. Which is a crazy thing to say about a Pokemon that 90% of the time only does 1 damage. Like, you may know Fortress as like a slow defensive Pokemon, right? Its move is Gyro Ball. And I bet you never thought you'd hear this. The problem with Fortress is that it's not slow enough. The way Gyro Ball works is that the base damage is very low, but it's multiplied by your opponent's speed and divided by your own speed. But that multiplier is an integer, and it rounds down.
No.
So if you are faster than your opponent,
it'll do 1 damage, essentially. The only way Fortress is good in this game is if you paralyze it.
Yeah.
Alright, so how does this battlefield work?
A paralyzed Fortress actually does damage. Like, you'd be surprised.
You want to explain Pugilist, the fighting type arena?
Yeah, this is a banner map, but you don't instantly win as soon as you claim all 4 banners. You gotta protect them for 4 turns.
It's 4.
Was it 3? I think it's 4. Okay. Yeah. But the gimmick here in the middle is that if you're standing on the side and someone hits away from and hits you towards the outside, you'll fall off. But if you're a flying type, like
Yeah,
Staraptor,
the
you don't
flying
care.
type in this game is,
So yet another reason
yeah,
why
it's
flying is
very,
plus.
very overpowered. It'll essentially just see any obstacle on any battlefield, and it's like, nah, bro. Alright, so in this battlefield, we want to recruit Yoshihiro. He is the guy with the girder. Girder is a very powerful Pokemon, and Yoshihiro has a warrior skill called Mighty Blow, which for one turn doubles his attack. And it's going to be very easy to recruit because we obviously have a super effective move.
Yeah. Our Pansage Warrior also had Mighty Blow, and I think we've used it a few times, but Girder is an actually good Pokemon. So we're going to see the true potential of this warrior skill.
Alright, so if you're wondering why I hit the bell, hitting the bell on this battlefield, until the end of your turn, I believe it'll double the damage for that one turn, or it's 50%, one of the two.
It's
Plus one stage,
plus
so
one stage.
50%, I think.
Yeah. Well, since we're using power wristbands, it's more like a 33% compared to what we were previously, but yeah. It goes from 1.5 to 2. Yeah, you'll notice here that we took damage, but since Pansage hit us from the side, we didn't fall off.
Also, check this out. The 3-for-1.
This is gonna feel really good.
There we go. All three of them were crits. Oh my god. 50-50, more like 100.
Didn't even matter.
Not like the crits mattered, but it's still funny.
Yeah. It works 100% of the time, 12.5% of the time.
Also, this Pokemon game really does utilize the touchscreen a lot. The way you mash text in this game is I hold B and I mash A. I try to time the text boxes if I can, but you can also tap the screen too, and depending on how fast your tapping speed is compared to your button mashing speed, it could be faster to tap the screen. And you can also tap the screen for movement in battles, which is obviously faster than manually moving 4 tiles.
Yeah. If you're playing on Nintendo PC, you can just drum your fingers on your trackpad, and that works better.
Alright, so right now, we're about to go invade the ground-type kingdom of Terrera. This kingdom is one of the most cheesable fights, but we're not going to see that right now, because for some reason in this universe, the owner of the kingdom's like, nah, you're too weak, come back later. And we just listen to him. But right now, as a test of strength, his army, with the exception of the warlord himself with the Rhyperior, is going to invade our kingdom. So now we've got to fend off invaders. So instead of us being the challenger, we're now the defender. And in these battles, the challenger goes first. So the enemy team will actually go first.
In fairness, he has a point, because Eevee sucks. Yeah, Eevee sucks, and the ace up our sleeve is a Staraptor, and he has Rhyperior, so I don't think he was acting out of line, to be honest. He might have had a point.
All right, so since we're the ones defending this castle instead of conquering it, the win requirement is slightly different. We don't have to defeat all the Pokemon then take the banners. We can just defeat all the Pokemon. We don't have to take all the banners. This kingdom's a little weird with that rule.
We'll probably be defeating them all because it's faster. But since we only lose if the opponent claims all the banners for 4 turns, things are going to be in our favor. Another thing is that if the turn count reaches 0, the defender wins.
All right, hopefully we crit this. Nice. All right, unfortunately this won't kill the Tepig, but that's fine. It's not really to be expected. Usually something gets knocked down. All right, so something else we can do is we're actually just going to place Eevee right here and not really do much of anything right away. Because the AI in this game isn't exactly the smartest.
They tried, but the AI just prioritizes banners way too much. And the Rhyhorn is going to step in front of the Charmander and then see that its Bulldoze will hit Charmander, and then it's going to do nothing. So if you swapped Eevee and Staraptor, then it would be at a complete standstill. They wouldn't be able to do anything.
All right, I'm not going to do anything here because I want the Staraptors to have full movement for the next turn, so I'm not going to do any attacks. Yep, there's the time waste of Intimidate.
I mean, it could come up. Probably won't, though. But, yeah, towards the late game, you can see Staraptor will actually function as it was probably designed, which is becoming frail after it uses Brave Bird.
All right.
If you do post-game a lot, it'll basically be like OU versus Little Cup, and the downside of Brave Bird won't matter as much. But here, yeah, Staraptors are going to be falling like flies. But not yet. Right now, Staraptor can still tank after it's used Brave Bird. So we have some leeway.
Alright, unfortunately that wasn't enough damage, so I'll have to hit it from behind, but that's fine. We got Girder for that.
I think next time, could you say attack from behind?
Attack from behind.
Yeah, that's better.
Alright, so right now, this will introduce us to a mechanic that isn't really utilized in the main story, but it is in the post-game. When you meet certain requirements, the warlords themselves can transform, and essentially their own stats increase, and they gain a new warrior skill. This one right here is story mandated, so it's just forced to happen.
Yeah, so this upgrades our warrior skill to something called Courage, which is basically top speed combined with Mighty Blow together. And it's good. We're still using an Eevee, but this is going to be enough to trick Shingen into thinking that Eevee is actually going to contribute something. I mean, it might if we end up resorting to Plan B, but he will allow us to challenge him now, and that's the important part.
All right, so this right here is Terrera. We're actually going to fight this kingdom this time. This is one of the most cheesable kingdom fights in the entire game, but only if you're the challenger. If you're the defender, this battlefield is actually quite hard, which you'd know if you play the post game. But essentially right now, the 3 banners are located on top of massive towers, which you have to take an elevator up to. And during specific turns, there is a sandstorm that'll knock everybody off. And we just gotta take those 3 banners, but there is one special thing we need to do here. kind of like with the Kingdom of Greenleaf, we had to recruit this warrior with the Pan Sage. We've got to recruit a man named Masatoyo. He has the Drillbur, and Drillbur evolves into Excadrill, and Excadrill is going to help a lot in the late game. So we have to make sure we either hit it with a super effective move, or within 4 turns, or before he can damage anything. But this battlefield is pretty big, and you never know what that Drillbur is going to do. So thankfully, Bacon Fry and I did come up with a backup plan. Hopefully we won't need to.
We came up with 2 backup plans. But yeah, that Drillbur is the reason why we can't just cheese this. Because we gotta recruit the Drillbur, so the cheese method, which normally involves just getting the banners and not attacking anybody, is not going to get us a Drillbur.
Okay, unfortunately, since 2 of his Pokemon went up these 2 platforms right here, this makes the AI go after the leftmost one instead. So Drillbur is going to end up moving further away from the Staraptors and the Pansage. But this is where our backup plan comes into play. I had Girder over here for this reason. Is I can do as much damage as possible to Drillbur, and then hopefully with Eevee, I can celebrate after knocking it out and go to the banner anyway. So let's see if it works. Oh yeah, that should kill.
And one neat thing is that if you celebrate, you get to use your boost twice. So we get the range boost for both this action and the one after. So we can take that banner anyway. Or take the lift to the banner,
Yep.
That is.
And also the great thing about Staraptors here, it doesn't matter if the opponents try to block me off. I can just zoom right over them. Yeah, pretty busted if you ask me. So now just the next turn will win. But yeah, the reason you can cheese it is because the first Sandstorm pretty much always happens the first turn there are Pokemon on the towers in the first place, and the AI does not know that. This is why we conquer Terrera and not Illugio. You can choose which kingdom to battle. Illugio is a lot harder because there's random portals everywhere and it's far more inconsistent, and you kind of have to knock out most things anyway. You really cannot cheese that fight. So that's the reason we do this fight instead.
The first turn of Illugio, the Gallade is scripted to walk onto the banner. It always happens. So you got a tanky Gallade on a banner, healing every turn, using Cycle Cut on you. The only things you could chip it with are like Carnivine or Luxio or something. It's just really messy. Not speedrun friendly. Not casual friendly either. But one neat thing is that no matter how we win, as long as we win, we'll get Shingen and we'll get Kenshin.
Yeah, Kenshin and his Gallade are going to be very useful to us for a lot of these fights, but Shingen with his Rhyperior on the other hand, he's only really going to serve one goal, and that's going shopping. He's going to be the one buying us more wristbands later. Because you want to explain why Rhyperior is bad?
Do I have... I mean, it uses Rock Wrecker. And it has like base 40 speed.
Yeah.
So you have like a move with a very specific range, but it has 2 movement. It usually misses, and if it hits, you gotta wait another turn before you can try to attack again.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Like the warrior himself is good, but you gotta change him to something else as soon as you get him if you want to be efficient about it. And I know it's not pronounced Kenshin, but you know.
Yeah, I don't want to hear it from the people who still say
I can't
Arceus.
hear it any other way. We're saying
I can
Kenshin.
say Kenshin if I want.
Yeah. I mean, I know Japanese, but I still say Kenshin.
Yeah, the post game for this game is essentially so massive. The main story is considered the tutorial. That's how big the post game is. Because, I mean, this whole main story is essentially like a tutorial because you learn about how all these kingdoms work. But not only do I have a lot of experience with that, I have done the only ever 100% speedrun of this game about 3 years ago. Took 72 hours of gameplay to get that. Every warlord fully transformed, every single warrior in the game with all their perfect links. All of it. And all stories completed, too.
Yeah.
Alright, so you want to explain Cragspur, the rock-type kingdom?
Yeah, so basically, on turn 1, you're choosing who to sacrifice to the boulders, pretty much. Because on the enemy's first turn, they're going to send 2 of the 3 boulders rolling down at you. And we can accept Drillbur, Girder, and Gallade getting... Well, Girder's not going to get bouldered. But Gallade and Drillbur, they resist rocks, so they don't really care that they're getting bouldered. And Eevee is Eevee, so we don't care about Eevee's well-being that much either. But yeah, this kingdom, essentially, the challengers get stuffed in a box and get boulders rolled at them. It's a very lopsided kingdom. But here we're gonna get Eevee to take to fight the one Pokemon that it can actually damage.
Also, sometimes when you knock out a Pokemon, the cry just takes 3 seconds to play, wasting time. I don't know what causes it. Because normally it's supposed to play right away.
It's probably an optimization. Yeah.
Also, Machop is the only thing Staraptors can really KO here besides the pants here.
I mean, that's okay, because Darumaka would be
No,
doing
you know
so
what
hot here
Darumaka
either.
would normally do here? Nothing.
Would die like an idiot.
Usually the most annoying thing about this fight is the
I guess
Bulldor has Rock Slide, which can flinch. The Onix has a pretty decent speed. When I try to KO it with Wake Up Slap, there is a small chance of missing. It's like a 10% chance to miss because of his speed stat, but obviously I'm speaking off experience. Don't believe percentages. They're lies.
Oh my god. Well, the one other thing that Eevee can do is just stand in front of Boldor and be a target that's neutral to rock instead of resistant, and hopefully convince Boldor to attack.
It's not
him
100%, it's 50. Yep. I've always told people the biggest lie about let's see. The biggest lie about Pokemon is that supposedly the chance to not move from paralysis is 25%. We all know that's not true. I don't care what the game says in the code. We all know it's not 25. Also, holy moly, that Boldor flinches like crazy.
It's a Rain Grace Boldor.
Also, the Boldor has Sturdy, so it cannot be killed in one hit. But I like to have, what's it called? Drillbur combined with Girder to knock it out. Bye, Eevee.
Oh 07. You'll get your redemption arc in like one more battle.
Yeah, that wasn't that bad. So right now, there's essentially 2 armies remaining. Our army and Nobunaga's army. That's the reason we're not able to recruit anybody during these final kingdom battles, because you can't recruit from an army that still has outstanding castles left.
You can only recruit them when you're fighting them in their
All right, so
last
right
phase.
now we're going to do some shopping. This is the one use Shingen has in the whole run. So right now, we're going to be selling a Firestone and a Waterstone. The wandering guy that showed up, his name is Kenji. He gave us one of each of the elemental stones. We're going to be evolving Eevee into Jolteon because Jolteon is one of the better evolutions in this game, and it's going to be very helpful for the Flying type kingdom and the Ice type kingdom.
I'd rate it as the best one, actually.
The other evolutions do not have good moves. Because not only there are stats to think about, but there's also how many Pokemon the move can hit. So Thunderbolt can hit 3 targets. Vaporeon has Hydro Pump, which can also hit 3. Flareon has Fire Fang, which can only hit 1 Pokemon. Flareon is objectively one of the worst evolutions in this game. Same with the main series, too. Lots of people don't like Flareon.
Hot take incoming, though. For this story specifically, Flareon's the 3rd best. Yeah. If you're a Glaceon apologist, well, it's kind of like, what if Magikarp evolved at level 70? Is that kind of thing. What if Magikarp evolved at level 70, and also you could only use it for the Elite Four and not the champion?
Basically to evolve Eevee into Leafeon or Glaceon, you have to get it to... Oh, whoops. You can explain the rest.
Yeah, you have to be in the Ice Kingdom at a certain amount of defense that equates to around like 64% link. So you're in the late game. You have to bring Eevee this entire time, this worthless normal type, until like the Ice Kingdom. And then finally you get to evolve it into Glaceon. You get to do one fight against Dragon types. And then you have to fight a Rayquaza, and then you can't use Glaceon anymore. It's terrible.
Also in this kingdom, the Staraptor can just fly over the walls.
Yeah, just casually.
Also, you may have been wondering what I was trying to do with Drillbur earlier. I gave the Drillbur a Panagiri, which if you use it during battle, it raises your energy. I gotta keep Drillbur's energy as high as possible. The reason for that is because the higher its energy, the better its stats, and the sooner I can get it to evolve into Excadrill. And when I tried to use it, the Drillbur was already at maxed energy. So I realized that I'm like, oh, I guess I can't use this. Alright, so right now, the 2 Staraptors are going to work together to take that banner. The Zubat taking it was effectively the best case scenario because it is the weakest Pokemon that could have taken that banner spot.
Yeah, Drillbur and Gerd are just along for the ride. Even if they don't defeat anything, they still get experience for participating. So that's nice.
Okay, so we don't even need a crit here.
But I believe... Yeah, this is the last banner map in the game. So this is the last time that we're going to be leaving enemies on the field and winning and not cleaning our plate.
Alright, so now we just got to wait for the turn to run out, and then Eevee can take the last banner. And if you recognize the guy with the Monferno, Hideyoshi, he was the guy with the Chimchar from the Ignis battle. He tries to go on some redemption arc in this game where he ends up joining the other side. And then we're going to have to fight him again later with an Infernape. And when I said Darmanitan was overpowered, Infernape is also one of the more overpowered Pokemon because of the move it gets. You want to explain what that move is?
Fire Spin. Yeah, Fire Spin is not particularly renowned as a good move in the main series. But here, Fire Spin is basically like... How'd I put it? It's like Gen 9 Bullet Seed Gen 9 loaded dice bullet seed, but it hits 8 tiles.
Yeah, you'll see in the final battle of the game.
8 tiles at once. Yeah. Although I do think Darmanic
Oh yeah.
is better.
I mean, Chandelure also does get Fire Spin, but I don't know if Chandelure or Infernape has the better attack stat. Ah.
No, it's Chandelure by far. But Infernape also has better speed, which matters for Fire Spin because if it misses any of the first targets, then it only attacks once. So that can be a little disappointing. So it makes Infernape kind of like a low risk, low reward version of Chandelure.
Yeah, this game is very lore accurate with all these warriors. Believe it or not, even the random warriors, if you look at their names and look at who they're based off of, almost all these people are based on real-life Japanese samurai figures.
Yeah, or other notable historical figures. Rikyu, the guy with the Darumaka, he
The
invented
tea
tea
ceremony. Dang.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Tecmo Koei, I believe that's how you pronounce it. They're the creators of the Nobunaga's Ambition series. This Pokemon Conquest is essentially the Pokemon version of the Nobunaga's Ambition series. Unfortunately, they're probably never going to remake this game, but
The character
this game
designs are
deserves a
from
remaster. But I unfortunately don't think Game Freak is ever going to allow it because, I don't know, licensing.
Yeah. The character designs are from the Samurai Warriors series.
Okay, so do you want to explain Yaksha, the Dark-type kingdom?
This is also a map that's pretty straightforward. What you see is what you get until like a certain turn. I think was it turn 3 or 4, when a little claw machine grabs someone and moves it to the little punishment chamber. And that's a little random, but you know it's a 6v6, so the likelihood that it'll dramatically shift the outcome of the battle.
A little annoying that wake up slap miss. That Zoroark is very fast. That wake up slap's got about a 28% chance to miss, but if it can hit, it'll do almost all the damage to the Zoroark. But unfortunately not. But that's fine. Staraptors are just busted.
Yeah. And the only reason we don't one-shot the Zoroark is because it has an iron wristband. Yeah, Zoroark's so frail they had to give it an iron wristband just so you couldn't wake up slap it next week.
Hey, at least Drober's going to get a kill today.
Hey. That's good. We wanted to get some experience if we can.
That Krokorok, I swear, during my practice streams, that thing always flinches me with Bite.
Hey, have we been gotten hit by a 30% flinching
Yeah,
move
we
and not
have.
flinched in this run?
We have gotten hit with headbutts before and not flinched. But that one specific Krokorok just loves flinching me. He's got a grudge on me.
See you in hell, Krokorok.
Also, that Poniard has an ability called Parry, which can just make contact moves miss. But thankfully, Thunderbolt is not a contact move. But unfortunately, we're going to have to deal with a Pokemon later that has Parry, and we're going to have to hit it with a contact move. So hopefully it cooperates with us. What is passwords? Okay, so in this game, there is an option to put in a password to have a custom wild Pokemon spawn in the wild, and you can link with it. Our password Pokemon was Staraptor. The no password category bans that. If you're a fan of Mystery Dungeon, think of it like Wonder Mail codes. You can put in a custom Wonder Mail code to get a specific mission to get whatever item you want. That's essentially what passwords are like in this game. I've just found more interest in passwords just because I like just sweeping stuff with OP Pokemon. It's just one of my pleasures.
And you know, technically, someone could just brute force the passwords and type random shit and wait until
Yeah.
something happens.
Like I mentioned earlier, there was no official password for Staraptor, but thanks to someone reverse engineering the password code for this game, you can make a password with almost any Pokemon in this game.
Yeah, it's just stuff like Leafeon that you can't get.
Also, because of how lucky we were with Drillbur's energy levels, it actually evolved early. I don't expect it to evolve till after the Flying Kingdom, but it's kind of irrelevant anyway because he's not useful there because he has Drill Run, which is a ground type move.
Hey, if he had Mold Breaker, he could hit Carnivine. If they actually gave him Mold Breaker in this game, which they didn't. I gave it Mold Breaker in my ROM hack though. I guess I didn't mention that at the start. That I did develop the oldest ROM
What's it
hack
called?
for this game, but yeah, it's not the time. Hard Plus. Yeah, it's called Hard Plus. It's not my place
I
to
gave you.
advertise, but
Okay.
you know, it doesn't get much. Okay, it doesn't get much publicity because the hack is finished. It's not in development anymore because I finished it. So it doesn't get much attention, but you know, I think I did a good job. It's just a balance hack mostly.
If you want to make your own passwords, just look up Pokemon Conquest password generator on Google and it should be the first link. It's just a basic piece of software. All right, so you want to explain how this kingdom works?
Yeah, so how you navigate this depends on whether you're a flying type or not. If you're a flying type, you can move pretty much freely between the islands. If you're not, then you gotta use the jump ramps. So where the jump ramps bring you, on the right side it goes like all the way around, but we're gonna be fighting on the left. And I think between casual or speedrun, there's like two realistic options. You either fight on the bottom left platform or the middle one.
The one. Sorry.
So the thing is that, if you're gonna ask,
okay, yeah,
question,
so
you can ask away. Yeah.
If you do ever decide to use the password generator, this game I believe only has flags for up to 64 passwords, and once they're all full, you can't use a password ever again. So the software will help you stay aware of flags. So just as long as you don't go too obscenely crazy with the passwords, you don't really need to worry about it.
And it's okay because the passwords you come up are going to be better than the official passwords anyway. They'll just give you stuff that you
I am
already
gonna have
get.
to sacrifice Staraptor because I put it in a terrible spot by accident. You want to kill that Braviary as soon as possible because it's got Skydrop.
Yeah, Skydrop is basically dig, but it delays your turn too. It's just not something you want to deal with in a speedrun.
Yeah, the only Pokemon, to my knowledge, that have had official passwords were like Dratini, Darmanitan, Lapras. There are plenty of others that were only like Japanese magazines or the website, stuff like that. The Dratini password actually would come in the box of the game, fun fact.
Yeah, a lot of people use that to replace Jigglypuff because they hate Jigglypuff, but honestly, Dragonite's not that much better.
And one other great benefit of Staraptor here is this Carnivine only has a ranged movement of 3, while the others have a movement of 4. It is very hard for Carnivine to leave this main island. So if you keep one of the Staraptors at full mobility, then you can just have it go up there. You don't want it to go up there right away because it is very easy for his flying types to just completely surround you and you're stuck. Okay, this battle took a tiny bit longer than I would like, but at least nothing went really that wrong.
Well, Oichi had to die, but that is a sacrifice
Yep.
we were willing to make.
All right, so we've just got 4 kingdoms left to go. These are the longest battles in the entire game. We got to do the Ghost-type Kingdom Spectra, the Ice-type Kingdom Nixstorm, and the Steel-type Kingdom Valora, then the Dragon-type Kingdom Dragner. And first up is Spectra. For most casuals, it's their least favorite kingdom, and you'll see why in a moment. Oh, gotta skip the month first.
Yeah, but the reason that Spectra is so hated actually has nothing to do with real difficulty.
Yeah, we'll keep it a surprise.
Oh. Yeah, Okuni there, the girl with the parasol, is the inventor of Kung
I'll
Fu
just
dance.
pretend I know what that is.
Well,
Would there be a homebrew tool? I think you can use an action replay code. Yeah,
you mean for resetting
to reset your password slots. It shouldn't be a big deal, and it shouldn't be a big deal at all
yeah,
unless
that
you
one's
plan
not
to
so-
use more than 50 passwords.
Well, what if you were trying to make a save file where every single warrior and warlord had their capacity slots filled with Pokemon that they
You would have to
actually
just get to
use?
work. I mean, there's wild zones, get training. Okay, so this is why the Ghost Kingdom is really hated upon. So, any donations to read? Okay, that one was a bit on the short side, but these intermission turns can get up to 30 seconds.
Yeah. So casuals hate it for the same reason that speedrunners hate it.
And
There's
that's
really
why
nothing
if
we
we
can
get
do.
flinched on this map, we're essentially never going to attack ever again. Also, Dusclops is extremely tanky.
Yeah, the thing that's going in our favor is that Staraptor is the best possible unit to be using here. Because it's a normal type that doesn't use a normal type move. So it just has free reign to pick off all the ghost types. You see how it missed Excadrill? It did that because it tried to
Yeah, that was
poison
a
it.
very risky, stupid move I did, but I figured, you know what? May as well try it.
Yeah.
Excadrill's only main use here is to use Drill Run on the Lampent, but depending on how the luck is with where the statues move, Staraptor may end up having to knock it out anyway, which wouldn't be as good because that Pokemon has an ability called Flame Body, which if hit with a contact move, there's a chance to burn, which cuts your attack in half. And in this game, critical hits will still be affected by the burn because it effectively cuts your base power, not your actual attack stat like in the older games. So even if we get burned, we can't just count on a crit saving us.
Well, that's how it
Yep.
works in the main series too, I think. Yeah. Excadrill doesn't look too impressive so far, but it'll be worth it in the end. Excadrill is good for precisely the same reason that... How do I put it? Yeah. Excadrill is good for the same reasons that people think Glaceon is good. Because you see the Zekrom on the cover, don't you?
You know, it's a bit too late for that to have crit. Also, you may have seen, like 10 seconds ago, I tried to Brave Bird the Mismagius, and from one of the directions it wouldn't hit. That's because it would have went straight first into a statue, which kind of counts as a wall. And if it's going to head dive into a wall, then the sides will not work. Brave Bird is just a really finicky move in this game. Also, I've had these statues plenty of runs just move completely in my way and just cost me minutes of time. Or these flames will just freeze me or something.
Yeah, Flame can freeze you.
Oh no, I got flame-bodied while I already killed it. Yeah, this fight honestly went really smooth.
It's probably one of the better arguments in favor of a Staraptor password.
Yeah, just the fact they just fly over almost every obstacle. Brave Bird's such a good move. And they have a movement range of 4, compared to the average, which is 3. You want to explain what that was, Bacon Fry?
Unfortunately, we've kind of... Huh? Yeah, we've... Oh, that's an Eevee in the park. If you had Ginchio, that would be really good for her. And if this weren't a speedrun, I think it would probably be worth... Is it worth it on anyone we have right now? Probably not, but if you were a casual player and you're running Ginchio, you'd probably...
Yeah.
It'd be very much worth getting a Jolteon for her.
That is
That's
the
best
only way
Pokemon she
Eevee
ever
spawn in
gets.
this game. You have to have your main player character on your army. And just some months, just a random chance an Eevee will spawn in a random park. In 100%, which I did, you want to get your main character all the evolutions. So this took quite a few attempts of just randomly hoping one shows up.
Ironically, linking the Eevees to your main character is the least efficient use of them because he's the only one who doesn't get to use it against
Okay,
the
so
final
this
battle.
kingdom essentially just has a giant roller skating rink in the middle of the battlefield. And I had Staraptor there. Just quickly remove that icicle. So I can do this.
We love ice puzzle levels.
In one of my practice streams yesterday, while preparing for this event, I had probably the worst Nick Storm fight of all time. It was so bad during my run, that was on record pace, by the way. I had to actually run away and start the fight over, which was the first time I've ever done that in my speedrunning career.
Anyone want to guess how things went wrong against
With
the
Ice
Ice
Beam?
Kingdom?
Thankfully that missed.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we've kind of reached the end of Staraptor's usefulness. It's already gotten its payoff, and now it's going to be exposed as the frail bird that it really is. But if we can get rid of the
Yeah.
bear tick, then it
Thankfully,
can
the
stay
bear
up.
tick is very slow, and compared to my fast Pokemon, it's really hard for that thing to land hits anyway because just how slow it is. But Icicle, what's it called? Icicle Crash? Yeah, Icicle Crash does have a chance to flinch. And it also has an ability called Tenacity, which can it's essentially like King's Rock, and it can stack on top of flinching moves, which the King's Rock doesn't normally allow you to do.
Tenacity is a flinch upon attacking it with a contact move.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And this Musharna right here is essentially the hardest thing to knock out here. It is extremely bulky, and it has just one of the worst moves in the game. It has Dream Eater. It can only hit targets that are asleep.
Musharna is the reason why I said that Fortress is only the second worst fully evolved Pokemon in the entire game.
Yeah, and
yeah, the worst Pokemon, the worst in-game Pokemon in the entire game, and in fact, the worst in-game Pokemon in any Pokemon game ever made.
It has an ability called Calming, which is kind of like Jigglypuff's Lullaby, but it's a very rare ability. Or very rare to activate, I mean.
Like, if we look at the link level, it's probably like 60%. It's probably like between a 10 and 15% chance to activate. So your only move is Dream Eater, and every turn you have like a 10% chance that you can do anything. It's so bad it borders on comedy. Like for perspective, that's half the chance that you'll be able to paralyze your own Fortress and make it usable. Fortress has a double the chance of being usable than Musharna does.
That Musharna just moves around randomly just because it really can attack anything. But her AI is quite stupid. I have actually seen her try to use Dream Eater on a Pokemon that's paralyzed or flinched. I have no idea why. It's gonna have to take an extra turn. I like how that potion just healed so little health.
Why does she have a potion?
Alright, so coming up is the Steel-type Kingdom Valora. This was one of the few battles where, because I don't have Darmanitan, I had to completely reroute this kingdom from scratch, and I have a route that I'm pretty happy with. It kind of involves some weird AI just acting weird shenanigans.
Like, looking at our team, you can guess who the MVPs are going to be. But, you know, we're bringing Staraptor and we're going to get some use out of it. So it's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, I remember even you were kind of surprised to see what my strat was here.
Yeah, I did not see that coming. Normally, I just unga bunga this with Gyarados because it resists and just destroys this entire kingdom. But
all right, some casuals would also say that this is their least favorite kingdom. There's hardly any room to move around, and you have to stand on top of these little cogwheels in order to make doors either go up or down.
yeah, and like half the map that looks like it would be good to fight on is actually terrible because of the security cameras.
Yeah, if the security cameras catch you, a crane just takes you to a random spot on the map. Which I have at one point had this happen.
Fun.
It would actually trap you somewhere in a small room where all the gates are closed and you can't get out. I've had it happen once. in casual. So you may be wondering, what is the point of Staraptor here? Well, Munashige Staraptor specifically is going to go after Ina's Quagsire and hopefully get a crit or two. But as of right now, we can't exactly do that, so it's going to serve a different purpose. I mean, Oichi Staraptor is just going to knock out this Chimecho. No idea why this guy has a Chimecho. So not a good Pokemon.
I think it's like a kind of counter-teaming measure that they think you're going to send fighting types, but we're not. We're going to rely on our fighting type. So if you thought that Girder was going to be the MVP, sorry, it's a 50-50 and you lost.
So with a Munashige Staraptor, I just stood in that spot and just did nothing. I don't want to bother attacking these errands because they'll be one-shots with Wake Up Slap. But watch what the errands do. Let's see if they do it. Yeah, sometimes they just randomly don't want to attack you and just run away. This is what I want. I want them to get closer to Girder. I just randomly found this out when trying to reroute this kingdom battle. And I utilize this. All right, we're going to go one further down.
You know, by the standards of this game, Chimecho's not that bad, to be honest. Like, I wouldn't put it in the bottom third.
I will confirm I'm a casual who despises this place. Yeah. The final 3 kingdoms here, Nixstorm, Vlor, and Spectra, I'm not huge fans of any of these stages. I mean, Nixstorm's not as bad because some might like the roller skating aspect. I'm not the biggest fan of it.
Nixstorm's kind of fun if you can set up a Pokemon to just slide across the ice and then nuke the entire enemy team in one go. Like, I guess Chandelier can do that sometimes. And that's very fun. Sometimes the ice works your advantage.
So now we're going to start going after Quagsire.
But if you don't have a melee attack... Yeah. If you don't have a melee attack and you have to use like Drill Run or Thunderbolt...
Yeah, I don't know what the crit multiplier is in this game, but that damage preview said like 68 or something, and it did 180. I guess the Quagsire had an iron wristband then. That would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Also, the reason I use Psycho Cut on the Aggron, it has Sturdy, so I need to break the Sturdy. Also, Aggron is very slow, Iron Tail's inaccurate, so it's pretty rare to see it actually hit something.
Yeah, sorry if you're hoping that Aggron would be good, but if you used Aggron in its debut generation of Pokemon Emerald, I think you know how to keep your expectations in check.
Thankfully, these errands don't have Sturdy. But yeah, I have no idea why the errands act all finicky by trying to run away from you and go to the middle. But I take full advantage of that to make the fight go faster.
Maybe I'll figure it out someday.
Alright, so we're approaching the final 2 battles. The Dragon-type battle at Dragner, and the final battle of the game.
Ragnar is yet another place where I've seen a lot of things go wrong. But
yeah, there's a Zekrom here. you can probably see why Excadrill is very important in this run.
I kind of got my fingers crossed that we can do something very funny with Girder if Zekrom happens to be standing like one tile away from
Oh yeah,
a
so do you
fire
want to
node.
explain how this battlefield works? And what are these nodes you speak of?
Yeah. So the nodes are the only thing about this battlefield that are not straightforward. What they do is they deal elemental damage to anyone who stands next to them, either at the end of the turn or if they get knocked into them somehow. So the water and grass just deal water and grass type damage, but the electric and fire ones, in addition to dealing electric and fire damage, they'll inflict paralysis and burn respectively. If you can use that against your enemy, that's huge. But your enemy, one of them is a Dragonair who has Dragon Tail, so they could probably use it against you if you get unlucky.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Generally, like
okay.
yeah, like a
Unfortunately, Discord delays, am I right? But yeah, unfortunately, this is one of the kingdoms where Staraptor
yeah.
just really falls off. It's great for dealing damage against just most things here, just helping out. But Zekrom here is essentially just Excadrill only. Some other Pokemon can help out, but Zekrom is incredibly bulky and very fast, and it really likes dodging attacks. In this kingdom, you can't really plan because of what elemental damage the nodes can deal, how these Pokemon will move around. You really just cannot predict this fight that well.
Yeah, the nodes will change colors, by the way. Yeah. And the white one is a healing node. But with Excadrill being the only reasonable Pokemon we can get to counter Zekrom with, like, I guess a casual playthrough you could use like Glalie or something. But one of the more surprising Pokemon that has a real niche here is Dusclops. Because if you went to Valora first, you can change its ability to Black Hole, and that's a really gross ability that forces your enemies next to you to not be able to move. So you can just trap Zekrom
I never knew
there.
that.
And yeah. So it's a really funny combo that you can actually bring Gyarados to this fight if you brought Dusclops too. And you can just have the Dusclops stand next to Zekrom and then use Gyarados to smack it around. The blue and green nodes, since they don't have a nasty secondary effect, it may be worth standing next to them if you're not going to take super effective damage. It's
Not for Excadrill because of its water weakness.
No. And if they hit you super effectively, it's like a lot of damage. Even that neutral hit was a pretty sizable chunk.
Super dead on that.
Well, we distracted it for a turn.
It would have been really funny if that was a fire node it stepped near.
I don't think it would have risked that. I think it only stepped there because it was water.
Thankfully, Oichi has Sweet Song as her warrior skill.
Unfortunately, Sweet Song's not scaling that well because it always heals 50 flat HP. So right now that is, I want to say, not enough. But yeah, from a design perspective, the Dragon Tailing Dragonair is really clever. Because it can take advantage of the nodes and cause some unintended chaos. I don't think it's intentionally smacking you there, but if it
Okay, that
happens
one
to
steps
happen,
on.
then
That one stepped on a
it makes
fire
the
node.
AI look smart.
Preferably, you'd want Zekrom
Yeah.
to get on the fire node. Or Girder, I guess. Unfortunately, it does not have guts. Unfortunately, we're just going to have to get hit with water damage. Oh, you crit. Nice.
So,
Supposedly a high crit move.
So it was. This isn't the first crit we've gotten with it. I think last time we crit, what was it now? I don't remember. We crit something.
Alright, so now we have reunited all of Ransay, conquered all 17 kingdoms. You think that this is the end, right? Nope. Alright, we're going to make sure we got our wristbands ready. I've been getting pretty lucky with the wristbands in the late game. They haven't been really breaking that much.
Yeah, since there's no multiplayer in this game, there's no trading. So a few people might be wondering how Girder is supposed to evolve. Its evolution condition is actually you have to use Girder to recruit an enemy warrior. So the unfortunate part of this for our speedrun is since we're fighting Nobunaga's army every turn for the last half of the game, there's no chance
Alright,
to
so
do
right
that.
now... Alright, so
That's
right
okay
now,
because it's
our
just
reward for uniting Ransay is we get to link with the legendary Arceus. The one that the region is literally shaped off of. Only the main character can link with it, though. Unfortunately, it has a silver icon above it instead of a gold icon, like with the Staraptor. So it's less of a perfect bond, so it's slightly harder to recruit with.
But the real ones know that a silver icon's just as good as a gold one for practical purposes.
Alright, so
anyway.
now, before we can truly end this, we got to do the final battle. You may think Nobunaga is just going to have his useless Zekrom, but he's got a shiny Rayquaza. I like how they do the shiny one to match his overall theme.
Yeah, that's so cool. Come Rayquaza, black as night. Yeah, Rayquaza is kind of the reason why I want to think that the Dratini password that officially comes with the game is bait. They're baiting you to change from Wigglytuff to Dragonite and then just get epically one-shot.
Okay, yeah, that Lucario, Mario just randomly has Lucario for some reason. It has the ability Parry, which is annoying because I want to knock it out with Brave Bird. This was the one advantage Darmanitan had here, is that Fire Blast did not activate Parry. But you just got to make some sacrifices sometimes. And right here is Infernape. We'll see if it gets one-shot by Drill Run. but if not, you'll see just how powerful Fire Spin is. It's probably more broken than Gen 1 Fire Spin. Okay, this might kill. Alright, never mind. Thankfully, we won't have to see it. That move can hit up to 8 Pokemon, and it's a multi-hit move, too.
Well, the good news for us is that he was likely to try for a 3-hit, or try to hit 3 of us at once. And if it missed any of us, then the move would stop. That said, Infernape is faster than... It has better base speed than, I think, all 3, so it probably wouldn't miss.
Yeah, at this point you can see how brittle the Staraptors are. Usually these don't last more than 2 turns here.
In a way, it's kind of Staraptor acting as it was intended, as a sort of glass cannon. I don't mind that.
Also, you want to explain what Arceus's omnipotent ability is and how broken it is?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. This is an ability designed for the god of Pokemon, so they make it super broken. This is basically, you regenerate 1/8 of your health every turn, you have a random chance to dodge, and all your attacks deal neutral damage. Which, since it was a normal type attack to begin with, that's just a buff for you.
Funnily enough, this is one of the better final battles I've had. I'm kind of upset this didn't happen in a real speedrun.
Yeah. In spite of how gross Arceus seems, it's not invincible. Like we discussed, it could get crit by Aura's Sphere.
Yeah, I had that happen yesterday.
Really bad. So,
all right, so we're about... Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So the real... Yeah. So we were actually discussing, I think since we're in the planning stage, a potential alternate way to do this final battle, which was to send Arceus and the player and Oichi and no one else. And Oichi would be
okay,
using
I'll have
her
to interrupt
untrained
you.
Jigglypuff from the very start.
All right, so the
Arceus
run's
would be
about to
holding
end in 10 seconds or so. I'll say time when the timer stops. Just gotta get through some dialogue here. Yeah, sorry I had to interrupt.
No, that's fine.
And... time. I made the estimate pretty generous.
All right. Yeah. So the strat that I was talking about for the final battle was to just abuse the Guardian Charm and have Arceus just KO your own Jigglypuff.
Yeah, unfortunately, the guy who sells those is a very rare chance to spawn, so it was more like a fool's dream more than anything, but this game is just very not friendly for marathons. I had to do a lot of work over these last few weeks to make sure I was well practiced, had backup plans, and everything. And I made the estimate 2 hours to be very generous, like assuming worst case scenario. So at least if we were behind schedule, we should be ahead of it now.
If anyone has the itch to play Pokemon Conquest and do the first story again, if you get a chance to get a Guardian Charm, please try it. It's so funny. It's such a fitting end for Jigglypuff.
But yeah, it's been a blast doing this. Thanks to all the people hosting the event. I've always wanted to join one of these and play this game, because nobody runs this game anymore. People used to. It's essentially just me and Bacon Fry keeping this game alive.
Well, no, there's an active ROM hacking scene, but in terms of vanilla, yeah. Man, I wish I could see the chat, but I didn't want to I didn't want to overcomplicate things or like put too much strain on my PC.
Yeah, this game's just a lot of fun. Despite with how RNG hell it is.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think YouTuber Imported Cheese said it best. This may not be like the best designed Pokemon game, but it is by far the coolest.
Yeah. Yeah, this
It
is
is
a lot
so
of fun.
cool.
Thank you, Bacon Fry, for being commentary, because no one's more knowledgeable with vanilla mechanics and casual strats than you are.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there is the possibility that there's some Japanese players who have explored
Okay.
things that I haven't, but I think in like the English-speaking community,
Yeah. So
I'm
anyway,
probably the
thank
one
you all
that
for
has to know
watching, and
those
I
things,
hope you
yeah.
enjoy the rest of this event.